Well, hello friends, Coach Bob with you today, and today, man, we have got the long-awaited 5 things I love and 5 things I hate. This is the video that everyone looks forward to because they get to hear things that I have to find things that I do not like about the CanAm Spyder. And everyone knows, I'm just going to be quite frank with you, I've ridden the Spyders for years and I absolutely love them. And so for me to find things I don't like, it ain't hard, but there are things that aren't game changers for me. So here we go. First thing we're going to do is something I love, and then something I hate, then something I love, then something I hate, then something I love, and something I hate. We're going to do it like that. We're going to keep it even. And I might even have a bonus there at the end. All right. But before we get going, give the video a big old thumbs up, share it with your friends, all that jazz. I want a big old fat gravy-laden thumbs up. I want gravy dripping off of that big old fat appendage. All right. First thing I love about it. First thing I love about this thing is its styling. This thing looks freaking awesome. The CanAm Spyder, certainly the 24 Sythe Sky, is just absolutely beautiful. It is the Greta Garbo. yeah, you young guys, get your Encyclopedia Britannica out. Oh, wait a minute, you don't even know what that is. Google it, you'll figure it out. But yes, this beautiful styling, color, everything about this thing, the wheels, everything about it, it is beautiful, and I absolutely love it. I get comments on this thing everywhere I go, every single time I go somewhere, and people are just blown away with how awesome it looks. So the first thing I love, man, this thing looks good. All right, the first thing I hate, this isn't gonna be a big surprise, that darn seat. Man, the seat just makes me mad, man. It makes me real mad. There is this right here, and this is a very common one, is this seat falling down. Now, obviously, I'll just take my gloves and throw them in here, and that's what I do. And it keeps the seat from closing up while I'm trying to put gas in it. But it's a pain, and it shouldn't be that way, that's for sure. I'm going to show you a picture of something right here. And yes, that is a toilet seat. I'm going to say that if a toilet seat can get it right for $30,000, you can get this right. You can keep that thing from dropping shut on you so fast, or dropping shut at all. Big problem, you know, I guess that depends on what you think a real problem is. To me, I would say, yeah, that's a problem. I don't like that. All right, so there you saw it. I have to use my gloves as a daggum wedge to keep the seat from falling down so I can put gas in it. When a $30 toilet seat, they can design to keep it from falling down on me. So we can do better. We can do better. You gotta do better. So let's fix that darn thing under the seat. In fact, let's do more than that. Let's do more than fix it in the future. Let's go back to every CanAm ever made and create some sort of retrofitted piece that hooks right in there so that we don't all have to throw gloves under there or buy a piece, because it's just ridiculous. All right, number 2, the thing I love. Boy, this one won't surprise anybody either. The brakes. Man, the brakes on this thing, they will send you into heaven. I don't mean by killing you. I mean by making you so happy, you are just going to feel like, I am floating, coach. It is so beautiful. I love it. Man, the brakes on this thing, I did a video here recently. I'll drop a link either down below or in the comment section. We'll get all that squared away, but I'm going to tell you, this thing will stop. If you're running into the back of somebody, you're doing it wrong, because you're just not paying attention or following too close, or your reaction time is so slow that, well, I don't know, maybe you need to be on meds or something. But man, this thing stops. It stops like crazy. So better than anything I've ever ridden or driven. This thing is a monster on the brakes. All right, number 2 on things I hate. This is the bad side, the negative side. The delicate finish. You know, I put little nicks on this thing. This thing isn't mine, and so, you know, I'm real comfortable riding. But when I'm getting on and off of this thing, or if I'm in little precarious situations, I'm extremely careful about where I park and what I do, because I don't want to scratch it. And it's got little marks on it, or just little things, man, just little bumps, little touches a little spot down here I'll show you a picture of where the paint kind of chipped off. It's like, I don't like that. Now I know it can be fixed with touch-up paint, and it could be this and it could be that. You know, I've had people go, you know, oh, Coach Bob, it's plastic, no wonder, blah, 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 blah. Well, you know, it's funny. Every time I hear somebody say it's plastic, that's what my dad always said about Corvettes. I don't want somebody's plastic car, the Corvette by Mattel, you know. And I kind of feel the same way when people talk about the Spyder and its plastic parts. Okay, it is. It's plastic. But it's a solid foundation. But man, the finish, it needs to be a little more. In fact, not a little more. It needs to be a lot more durable. All right. Number three things I love is the sports car-like handling. The Spyder handles, man, it just freaking handles, and it handles well. When you're going around a turn or a curve and you are really in it, man, this thing, you can blast around turns with anybody. You know, look, I go riding every now and then with sport bike guys, and I'll be on my triple or some other sporty bikes. Every now and then I'll show up on the Spyder, and the guys who haven't been there are slapping their heads going, great, we're going to be waiting on this geezer all day, this old bald-headed man showing up on this tricycle. You know, it's going to be terrible. And then we get into the turns and I'm leaving them, and they're like, holy cow, man, can you ride that thing or what? And I'm like, I don't have to ride it. It rides itself. This thing is absolutely spectacular in the way it handles. So number three of something that I absolutely love is the amazing handling of the CanAm Spyder. All right, number three, things I don't like, things I hate, things I think are shortcomings. All right, the ease of adjustability on the latches on the saddlebags. You know, the back bag on this thing, when I first got it, it would show that it wasn't closed, and I'd close it. And then as soon as I let my hand off the lid, it would show not closed. It was closed, it was latched all the way, but I would press it down, and there's a little sensor, there's a little like click, 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 click sensor in the very top of the back bag. And when that sensor is pressed, that's what tells you that the saddlebag is closed. If that sensor isn't pressed, then it thinks it's open, even though the latch is closed. That stuff should be like easily adjusted. I mean, like small set screw type adjustment. I'd like to see that done. The sensors need to be there, and I don't think the sensor is a bad design. I just simply think that it needs to be more easily adjusted. How did I fix it? I simply got a small piece of electrical tape, put it on top of the little plastic piece that goes up in the sensor, and it created that little bit of difference that was just high enough to make the sensor go off. So if you look at the bag back there, here's a picture of it. That little piece of electrical tape, that's what's holding it. That's what makes that sensor move all the way. So I know what you're saying, Coach, that is about some crappy craftsmanship on your part. There are a million ways to fix it, and the dealer was willing to adjust and do this, but it was going to take a day. I'm like, man, it's not worth all that. I just don't want the sensor to be going off when I'm driving, because it makes me think that the daggum bag is open when it's not. So let's do something about those sensors and make the adjustability of all of the latches and the closing mechanisms on the back of this thing, just make it a lot more simple. That would be great. All right, number 4 on things I love. Number 4 on things I love. The heated equipment on this thing. I'm going to tell you that the heated equipment on this thing is absolutely 5 freaking star. It is unbelievable. Your butt is going to be warm and your hands are going to be warm. And I'm talking about if you're riding in temperatures that are, you know, in the 20s, you may have some cold spots on you, but it ain't going to be your butt and your hands. I can tell you that. Get you some heated socks and your feet won't be cold. But the heated gear on this thing, it's second to none, and you're going to be nice and warm. You're just going to be. The thing is just super duper. Better than any motorcycle of any kind, whether it be BMW, whether it be Triumph, whether it be Harley, whatever it is. I have never ridden anything that keeps my hands as warm as this does, and keeps my booty as warm as this does. It is absolutely unbelievable how good it does. Let this truck get by. Unless he, oh, look, I got a green light. Look at that. Ain't that pretty? All right, number 4 on the negative side, number 4 on the thumbs down. I wish the darn windshield didn't have to go up and down every time you turn it off and turn it on. That drives me crazy. I know you're saying, Coach, that is the most ridiculous thing that I've ever heard, that you would even care, that would even matter to you. Things like that bug the crap out of me for whatever reason. Up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. It's like, why put all of this force? Why put all of this work on this electric motor? You know, if I need to move the windshield, I'll move it. And if I don't, let it sit where it wants to sit. It's fine. If I need to move it, I'll move it, CanAm. So let's fix that to where that thing is not going up and down on its own all the time. You know, you turn it off, it goes all the way down. You turn it back on, it comes back to where you had it preset. Just leave it where it was set. I know that may seem like a little thing to a lot of people, but it drives me crazy. Number 5 on things that I love. I'm going to tell you this, number 5 is a big one. It's a massive one. That is your rider geometry. This thing is set up for you. It's set up for you to ride. It is not designed to just be a shape or be this or be that. You know, a lot of times you'll get a motorcycle and you'll sit on it and you're like, man, this feels terrible. It feels awkward, but you look really cool. A prime example is the Harley with your feet sticking way out and then your arms sticking way out front. It's terrible on your back. Your back is like this bow, right? And it's awful. And I'm going to tell you right now, you look cool, but I've ridden those darn things. I rode one for 20 years. And I can tell you, when I would get to Daytona, I was beat up. And not to brag, but I was a stud, man. I was in shape. I had 6-pack abs, and I was in the gym. I was doing Ironman triathlons and running marathons, and man, that thing would just beat the living snot out of me. So the ergonomics on this thing, they are just beautiful, just beautiful. As human beings, we're prone to slouch and get lazy. My suggestion to you is work on your posture and your body position and your core strength, and let the Spyder do its magic, because you are going to be able to ride for hours and hours and hours in comfort. When I say not just your body position, the bend in your knees, the amount of wind buffeting, all of that, the ergonomics, the overall ergonomics of this thing make it extremely rideable for hours on end. And that is quite wonderful. All right, well, before we get done with the last thing that I hate, I want you to give the video a big old fat thumbs up, a big old gravy-drenched, fat, morbidly obese thumb. I want that thing to look like you hit it with a 5-pound sledge. All right. And this last one, you know, so number 5 on things that I hate. Is this a big deal? It is a big deal when you're touring. And that is a TPMS monitor system needs to be on here. TPMS is tire pressure monitoring system. There should be an onboard TPMS on this thing, so that when you get up in the morning, if your tires are low, it tells you. It tells you. It's very, very important. And for those of us who take things like that quite seriously, and we do that walk around, it just saves us a step. We either buy the FOBO, which is a company that makes a tire pressure monitor system that is on your telephone, and that right there is great, but you got to spend $180, $200 to get that system, and then you've got to keep batteries in it. I would much rather have something that's in the tire, it's integrated, and it's right here on the dash, and it's not going ding, ding, ding on your phone. What I developed the data separation anxiety thing. Your phone goes ding, ding so much you don't pay attention to it, and all of a sudden you don't realize it was telling you were an AFib or telling you your tire was flat, and you didn't pay attention to either one. You end up either in the hospital or in the ditch, and neither one of those places are good. So I would love to see a TPMS on board the CanAm Spyder. All right. Well, are there other things that I love and other things that are shortcoming? Well, sure there are. In fact, we'll just do another bonus on the negative side. Ooh, oh, and then we'll finish on a positive note. That's like a double negative. Does that make it positive? I guess it will this time. All right. So the last negative, I think that CanAm, and this is true on any of the motorcycles, I think that things need to be more, the fit and finish on it. When I say fit and finish, not just in alignment and things like that. Those things are easy repairs, easy changes to make. But more electronically speaking, you know, they had the CarPlay debacle, where the CarPlay wasn't working for a long time. People had Spyders for a year and not had CarPlay on it, even though they had purchased it with CarPlay being advertised. I just think that's wrong, and it needs to be, things like that should never ever happen, certainly to where the consumer takes it on the chin. That's just not cool. So the electronics on all of my Spyder stuff has always been a little wonky, I'll say. Whether it was the BRP Connect app or the CarPlay on the newer models, it's not seamless. I would love to see the CarPlay on this to be Bluetooth, to where you don't have to plug it in to use it, like I do on my truck. I mean, when I get in my truck, it determines there's my phone. This connects to my phone already. Why can't it just automatically connect to the CarPlay when my phone is within range, and that it would just work on CarPlay all the time, or Android Auto? So those things are shortcomings. Are they things that I hate? Well, I hate the fact that it's not as easy and not as seamless as I would have it be. All right. So the last thing I love, man, I could go on all day about things that I love, so I'm just going to go down a quick, short list. The amount of things that you can carry on this thing is second to none. I have a wife in a wheelchair, and she has to carry a lot of things, and we also carry things for the channel, you know, computers, cameras, all that stuff. We always have more than enough room. And for her wheelchair, they make a rack for the back of this thing that you can just hook up and put a wheelchair on the back of it, or you could pull a trailer, which I have a trailer, and I love my trailer. So the storage on this thing. The other thing, now the Harley guys that are like, man, I want to hear my motorcycle, I want it to deafen me. You want that, I don't. I'm going to tell you, I love how quiet this thing is. When I go for a ride, it is sweet, it is quiet, it is beautiful, and I love it. I can really focus. I can concentrate on what I'm doing, and then if something odd happens, you can actually hear it, and that's pretty cool. Nothing worse than getting somewhere and, man, it was so loud I didn't hear that was tearing up or that was loose. You're not going to experience that on the Spyder. If you hear something, if it's making noise, you're going to hear it, because this thing's quiet, and the amount of wind that it cuts with that big windshield, it's quiet. The other thing that I will say, not only is it quiet, the wind buffeting, generally speaking, due to the design of where the mirrors are placed and the wind deflectors and the windshield, your body is just not taking any hit at all. All right, well, there you have it. 5 things I love, 5 things I hate with a couple of bonuses. And that is all I got to say today. So I want you to do me a favor until next time. You, yes you, go out, buy the motorcycle of your dreams, eat right, take care of yourself. And remember, if you're not having fun, you are definitely doing it wrong. Now you go seize the day, and I'll see you on the road real soon. But I got riding to do. I got riding to do right now.